So it's kind of fun to teach on a Saturday morning again. I haven't done this in like 2 years.
It's fun to do that. It's fun to work out on a Saturday morning.
I know, right? Good morning. Okay, so I'm going to do this so I can see. Okay, great. Awesome. Yeah. So if anybody, yeah, so guys, we're going to start in like 2 minutes. We're going to start right at 10:30 so we can get through 30 minutes of stretching and some foam rolling. So as long as you have that with you, get yourself kind of seated in a comfortable position. I'm going to go actually back onto the mat and just kind of start to chill back there. So like in about 30 seconds. So again, anybody joining the class that's coming on, just kind of sit in the position. If you have a foam roller, a yoga strap, or like a rope tie or a towel to use just in assisted stretching, you don't need it. Any of those things, you could just have yourself. I'll show modifications also. We'll just take 30 minutes to lengthen and strengthen. So we're gonna use some stuff to, especially our bodies, to kind of lengthen our bodies to allow them to be stronger and get everything that's a little bit tight. Can I get a show of hands, or you can unmute yourself for a second? Has everybody been working out this week a lot?
Sorta. Took lots of walks.
Yeah, right? I feel like my calves and feet have had the better workout. Good. But actually, it's good because we're going to spend some time on our calves and our feet. Anywhere else that anyone has like soreness or like tightness, I should say? Not like knife like pain. That's not good. But like just some soreness, tight, tension. I know for me, I know neck area and shoulder. There's been a lot of like kind of tennis stuff going on too. So
yeah, I was gonna say
allergies.
Also doing a lot of sitting around. So that
yes, and you know
things tight and sore. Yeah.
So actually, it was going to be my so good morning, everybody. Welcome to Lengthen and Strengthen. I'm Anna Marie Forbes. We're going to get started. My very first point today was going to be awesome if you've been able to work out or go for walks or do some of our online FitRec Live, which is great. You know, you can go on and do some of the workouts too. They're recorded, so the following day you can go see them. So that's great. You can do these things again. But also that sitting and not moving a lot, I find that kind of gets us sore too. So either way, we need to kind of get our bodies moving and wake them up and get the blood flowing. So welcome to class. I'm going to go sit back on the mat and you guys can just follow me. So we're going to sit down first. We're going to start in a seated position, but not very long. We actually are going to be up for a little bit more than we were on Wednesday. So have a seat for me, cross-legged position. Can everybody see me okay? Thumbs up if you can see me okay. Okay, awesome. All right, so we want to cross-leg. If you have a yoga block and you want to place it, the yoga block, if you have one, you don't have to, but if you do have one and want to place it underneath the meaty part of your bottom, you can. Otherwise, do opening of the hips, just kind of sit cross-legged. We're going to let our hands flow down, let our fingertips kind of grab towards the floor. And the biggest thing I want you to do right now is just roll your shoulders back. Pretend like you have a puppet string from your navel all the way through to the top of your head, holding yourself up. And I want you to close your eyes for 1 second, listen to my voice, and take a nice deep breath in through the nose. Hold, and we're going to exhale through the mouth. We're going to try 3 more rounds of that. So we're going to go through the nose. Big inhale with the hold. And one last time. Coming into wonderful headspace. So I just ask that you, if you feel like it, unmute yourself. If you guys have anything you want to say, this class is pretty laid back. There's not a lot of music. I'm just going to take you through a series of stretching. So the first thing we're going to do is while we're down here, we're going to give our feet some love. I want you to take your foot out in front, the one that's in the front. I want you to start to right above at the ankle bone, right about here. I want you to start to massage. We're just going to give our feet a little bit of massage. We're going to spend about a minute on each foot. So what I want you to think about is using your fingertips and going through the arch of your foot all the way to your toes. And then in the middle, If you want, you could take fingers and rub them up and down underneath the bottom of the arch of that foot. And also spend some time in the heel. So you're kind of like kneading and pressing. We're gonna make pizza dough later, I think, homemade pizza dough. So it's kind of like kneading bread all through this. Gets really tight. Plantar fasciitis tends to act up in here when our calves are tight. And these heels sometimes they can get like burning sensations by the end of the day, or the toes. So come all the way up through the middle again. And just kind of use your both hands if you can, thumbs to kind of press through. We're gonna do this for about 10 more seconds. And then I'm gonna do something that you're gonna be like, is this girl silly? But it works. So trust me on this. I want you to take your toes, and if you can, I want you to separate them like jazz toes, I call it, like you would jazz fingers, but do your toes. And now, and you do not have to do this if you don't want to, you can keep massaging your foot. But for 15 seconds, we're gonna take and we're gonna try to put our fingers between each toe to separate those metatarsals. So it's hard for me to do it on this foot. We're gonna just leave them right there. And I want you to relax. I want you to relax your jaw, relax your legs, relax your hip flexor, and relax your toes. And just let that stay there for about 15 seconds. And at any point, you're probably like, this is a very different thing maybe that you've done. They actually sell things like this online that help to separate our toes, keep us away from something called like a cobbler's foot, where that last toe tends to go under. So if you spend about a minute a day on each foot, you'd be shocked. We're only gonna do about another 5 seconds. And we're gonna release, take the hand out, and you should see that your toes already wanna be a little bit more separate. So if you spend about 1 minute to 5 minutes, you can do up to 5 minutes a day with your toes separated like that. You'll be surprised how much better your feet health will be. We're gonna switch feet, go to the other foot. We're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna start right here. I don't know how close you guys are to your computers, but if you want to unmute yourself, does anyone have a lot of tightness in this area? It's like right in this back, like ankle area. A lot of times that's where plantar fasciitis like to back up.
Yes, I do.
Okay. So come into the heel again, like I said, with the fingertips. A lot of times foam rollers, I'm going to show you later, they're doing the same thing we can do with the self-myofascial release, which is massaging like ourselves, the fascia. It's that connective tissue that runs through our entire body. We're actually circulating better blood flow. Come all the way up to the center. I typically, this is very tight on my foot on my left side. So I typically spend a little bit more time in here. If you can dig a little harder, it should never be like nice pain. If it kind of is a little bit, you know, sore, that's one thing, but cautiously do things. Working up your way to the toes. And I know I've had, when they first started this class, I had one lady honestly tell me it was the most boring class she'd ever been to, right? It was great because it's very laid back. And I said, okay, stick around for a while. And by the end of the class were done. So I took it as a good compliment. At first it's like, oh gosh, self-care, sit here for this long and do this to my foot. Take those toes. One doesn't like to very much. Okay, and we're gonna take and place those fingers in between those toes again. You truly can look online when you get off here and see that they make actual products that will separate your toes like this for your feet health. They're the gateway to the healthy body you want. Take care of your feet. Be good to them, love them. They do a lot for you. I used to not take very good care of my feet, and then I was forced to. And sometimes it's good to just remember self-care is so important for this reason. If you're having a hard time with one of your toes or fingers, no big deal. If you don't want to do it, just keep massaging your foot. I'm gonna stay here for another 5 seconds. Release your jaw, hip flexor, foot, everything likes to tighten up, and slowly release. When you release, you're gonna find those toes want to naturally be a little bit more separated, which is good because those toes will start to lay flat the more you do that. So try to get into habit, and it's anything you do it all the time. It's something very simple you can do when you're sitting watching TV. So let's take ourselves out in front, our feet in front. We're gonna start with one stretch here on the ground. Our heels are together. We're gonna sit tall. Remember, pull like a puppet string up, standing tall, brace the core. Not through the knees, but through the hips. We're gonna take and rotate towards the floor. Now, you can see how tight I am in this leg. Can anyone see that if you're close enough to see it, or thumbs up? See how this one doesn't want to go as far down and this one wants to go. So this leg is much tighter, this hip flexor. Hold. Try to reach those pinkies down and then come back to the center. Make sure you're rotating not through your knee, but up here. Try it again. We're gonna go out, keep those heels together. They wanna naturally start to separate. It's okay if you have to separate, it's not a big deal. But if you can, try to keep them closer. Come back together. One last time. All the way out. And see how this foot already, by doing it 3 times, wants to go closer. Like, oh, I'm using all my might to try to reach. It's already gotten better in 3 rounds. The body wants to do this. Come back. This time, we're gonna separate out. Feet kind of shooting right out of your hips. Take our big toe and try to bring it together. You do not have to touch. Does anyone feel this? Thumbs up if you feel this out here. Especially even sitting a lot or walking, both extremes. Come back into the center, release. And remember, we start to slouch, so try to really sit tall. I can see you through the video. It's kind of cool. The ones that are on, I can watch you guys kind of sit taller. And then release. And one more time. And release. And I want to a little bit, bend the knees. We're gonna do a sitting forward fold. So make sure you're sitting on the bottom. Reach all the way up. Shoulders are back and down. You're sitting on your sits bones. Slight micro bend in the knee, and we're gonna lean forward. If you grab through your thighs or your shins or your toes, it's not about how far you can go. So now, see my voice, I'm gonna kind of keep my head up, but I would like you guys to drop your chin to your chest. And here we will go through sounds of deep breath. We're gonna breathe in through the nose and hold for seconds. So we'll breathe in. Second time, inhale. Hold. And one last time. And release. And slowly, slowly, slowly roll up one vertebrae at a time. And we're gonna come to standing. So what I'm gonna have you do is we're gonna come on and be right underneath our hips. So everybody, thumbs up, you can see me, my whole body. Like if I raise my hands, I think you should be good. Awesome. Okay, now, promise me that you're just gonna smile and have fun because it's super laid back for a reason. So don't take yourself too seriously. The first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna slowly, I want you to watch, we're gonna slowly kind of bend forward. We're gonna kind of tuck our chin to our chest, and when you're ready, you're gonna join me. And you're just gonna sway with a slight knee bend, back and forth. We're gonna open up the spine. You do not have to be bent all the way over. You can stay right here if you want. The biggest thing I want you to do is drop your head towards the floor if you can. If you want a modification, you can stay all the way up and you can go side to side with your head about if it bothers you to bend over. I'm like a modification queen, so at any point you need a modification, just unmute yourself and let me know. Otherwise, we're here for another 5 seconds. Start to bend the knees, the hips a little bit, and slowly go up one vertebrae at a time. The head coming up for the final, and raise the hands all the way above. Your shoulders are back and down. We're gonna take a nice deep breath in. And we're gonna exhale, lifting the heel off. Notice that I have a slight bend in this elbow, and we're reaching our fingers towards the sky. I want you to think about opening your heart to the sky. And you'll notice I'm looking eye gaze up, not at you on purpose, to make myself stay up a little bit higher. Slowly release back to the center. Slowly reach up this heel. These movements are slow on purpose. Oh, see, this one wants to drop. I got to make it come up a little bit. And the heart to the sky. We're going to do this one more time on each side. Reach, if you can, also bend that toes up and reach that heel all the way up. Try to keep this elbow up a little bit. Habit makes it want to go down. This I'm going to tell myself to keep it up on this side. I'm going to keep my elbow up as I reach the other side through. Wiggling the fingers. And then come here. Reaching all the way up again. And this time now, we're just going to sway side to side, lifting, opposite each time, and slowly starting to rotate the shoulder. The same foot, the heel is coming up as the shoulder goes back. 2 more. And now, what do you think we're going to do? We're going to rotate. You don't have to move your feet. If you want to, you can take a step. I find that sometimes if I move my feet at the same time as my arms, I move better. You guys look great. And whoever I can't see, I'm sure you look wonderful too. The part I think that looks the most wonderful is that you're awake and you're moving and taking care of yourself. All right, let's step to the center. Nice deep breath up. Do a slight back bend. You're gonna see me from the side. You don't wanna do this with your hips. You wanna tuck your hips. Just stand tall and just kind of let that slight back bend happen. Just a little bit, reaching those thumbs towards the back. I'm gonna turn back to the front. And release. We're gonna go through that again. So I want you to separate. This time you know kind of what we're gonna do. So take a nice deep breath in. And when you're ready, exhale. This time, you might notice if you take a little bit of a step in place, you might get a little closer to the ground. Again, the modification is to stay standing and just do the same thing with your head up. So if at any point you get dizzy and you want a modification, you can come right to what I'm doing here. No big deal. We have about another 10 seconds here. Slight knee bend, picking up the foot each time. Try to separate those toes, I dare you. See how they want to go under? Maybe yours don't, but mine do. And slowly roll all the way up. Bring the hands up. We're going to go through that routine again where we're going to reach one side, open the heart to the sky, and hold. The other side. One more on each side. Your spine start talking to you a little bit. Feel a little bit of release. Come all the way up. Swing the hands side to side. Try to make fingers going from pinky to thumb, out, pinky to thumb, and then thumb to pinky. Try to do that. That's not that easy. Anybody else notice that? I always talk like as if you're going to talk back to me right away. So just have patience with me. I'm pretending like you're talking back to me. All right, and drop the arms, shake it out. Bring yourself up. Just a slight back bend again. Hands together. And release. All right, I want you to come down to the ground. And if you have a foam roller, awesome. If you do not, I will show you an option. We're going to do what we call a self-myofascial release. We are going to start with, I'm going to go on a little bit of an angle, probably be a little bit easier to see me. We're going to start with our calf. So right above the ankle bone to right below the knee. We are going to try to roll forward and roll back. And roll forward and roll back. So for 4, does anybody have a tender spot? Then what we're going to do is we're going to stop there. So for the meaty part of your calf, if you look here, kind of the part that falls over on each side, I want to do something for me. And what we're going to do is we're going to roll east to west, so side to side. You're going to roll from one side. Typically, this is when it starts wincing in class. It should not be a nice pain, like sharp pain, but it should not be comfortable. You're breaking up your fascia, so this is a typical movement. And if you have a lot of tight muscles, you're going to feel this here. And then we're going to massage, kind of making almost like a U. If you find a spot, you can stay there. You don't want to do more than about 60 seconds to 90 on each part of your body. We're going to do the exact same thing if you have a foam roller on the other leg, but this time I'm going to show option without a foam roller on this leg. So release that leg out. This one, I'm going to do the same thing with my fingertips. You guys keep going if you know it. If you see this foam roller, if I come closer, these are like fingertips here. This flat part here is like a palm, and these long lines are like fingers. So it's doing the same thing with your own hand. So what we're going to do is we're going to slowly start at the bottom, using your fingertips to press all the way up through the calf. So this is if you don't have a foam roller at home, which you don't have to have one. All the way up and all the way down. Usually do 4, 4, 4. So I like to say north and south 4 times. You can use your fingertips to go up and down. And then you're going to do east to west, side to side. So you can take this meaty part of your calf, and if you want to use your fingers, the tips or your full palm, kind of move it around side to side. And if you have been walking a lot or sitting a lot, either extreme, you may feel this is tight. And if you feel like a little bit of a knot sometimes, that's normal too. And then if you find a spot like that, you want to stay for maybe 10 to 20 seconds, like right here. I'm going to gently, with some nice, soft, gentle firmness, stay there and work that out. Awesome. And then just kind of do a slight up and down if you don't have a foam roller, or go back and forth with the foam roller to release. The next thing we're going to do with this foam roller is we're going to do our quads. So if you have been doing a lot of exercise, sitting either way, this is a nice stretch for your quad. You're going to come forward. You're going to place right above the knee, right below the hip flexor. You're going to come forward and back on this foam roller. I usually would go into a plank position, and you kind of move your leg back and forth. Foam rolling is an active stretch. There is nothing not active about it. Now we can go east to west. Oh, okay. I'm not even kidding you that in class, typically this is when everyone is like, oh, making crazy noises. You should feel this if you're going side to side. If you have any little bit of tightness, you're going to feel that muscle, that fascia trying to break up. And then if you find a spot, dig again. That could be higher on the thigh, but just try to protect your joints. Don't go to the knee and don't go all the way up to the hip. I'm gonna go equally to the other side, so slowly rise up. Again, right above the knee, right below the hip flexor. In a plank position, if you can, you're gonna kind of walk yourself and army crawl back and forth. Find that spot that works for you. I'm gonna believe you're all feeling this, and if you had questions, you would unmute yourself. Now we're gonna go side to side. So if you find a spot, I want you to go side to side. Self-care takes time. That about 10 minutes of foam rolling a day, or I'm gonna go now, you guys finish your thigh. I'm gonna show you without a foam roller. Same exact thing we would do. We would just have our leg out in front of us. Another one you can use is your fist. You can start to knead, and especially the IT band is another place you can do all the way up the side, and all the way down the side of the body, right down the leg, connecting. That gets very tight. So I want everybody, when you're done with that thigh on the foam roller, if you can, sit up. Once everybody's seeing, I can see some faces, awesome. I want you to start to take your knuckles and kind of dig into the side. Slight knee bend, and you go up and down for about 30 seconds. You should feel this. Try to relax your hip flexor and relax your shoulders. And then slowly bend your knees. I'm gonna go to the other side. If anybody's close enough, so they're unmuting themselves, does anyone feel this? Thumbs up if you feel this. You should take those knuckles are kind of rolling. Now, what if you make a circular motion? You have no idea how much help you're doing to your body right now with especially this IT band. I want you to spend 10 more seconds here. I want you to have credit for doing this long. This recovery is the part we need when we do high intensity and anything aerobic. This is the part we have to build in. And one last, all the way down and all the way up. All right, release. We have about 5 more minutes. So when you're ready, we're gonna slowly come. If you can be on your knees, if that bothers you, don't do it, okay? So can I have like a thumbs up or someone unmute if you cannot sit on your knees? Nobody, okay. All right, so from the side, it's gonna look like this. I want you to tuck the toes under. Keep the feet together and knees together. What you're not going to do is you're not going to sit onto your feet like all your weight. What you're gonna just do is that puppet string again is pulling you up, but you are gonna sit back, opening your toes up and allow yourself to sit back, but having active toes and active movement here. You're just trying to open up your feet. So I just don't want you to fall into it. You can sit, but not all of your weight. And stay here for another 5, 4, 3. This should be kind of uncomfortable. 2, and release. This is for plantar fasciitis. And now you're gonna sit back if you can. Otherwise, you can always grab a pillow. Next time you come, you can remember that. Or just even hold like this, just tucking your toes, just give them a break. We're gonna go back in. And we're sit back. Everybody okay? And release up. We're gonna do this one more time. Tuck those toes under. Deep breath. Sometimes things like this take my breath away more than other stuff. And rise. Awesome. All right, come back down to the seated position. If you can, put foot in front of the other if you've gotten able to do that. Otherwise, just in that Indian cross position again. We're gonna do some stuff with our hands for the last minute or two. I want you to put your hands out in front of you. I want you to make it so you can. Tighten everything up, like all the tension of the day, of the week, of the last few weeks. And now I want you to take a deep breath in and let it go. Shake them up. Let's release the hands down to the floor again. Try it one more time. Hands are out. You're gonna make that fist as tight as you can. Hold, deep breath in. Release, shake them out. Turn the hands under to rotate those fingers towards the floor to open up the wrists. Now, try to do what we did when we were standing. We're gonna go thumb to pinky and then release pinky to thumb. This is good for your brain too. Up, now tell yourself, I'm gonna release my pinky first. Pinky, last finger you have, and one last time, all the way in, and the last finger on your hand goes first, and then release out. And now shake it out. One big whoop, deep breath all the way in. I want you to take a slight twist to the side, looking behind you. Release those hip flexors. We're real big reach to the top, shoulders back and down. And we're gonna release to the other side, kind of rinsing out our middle section. And last but not least, one large deep breath in. Release the hands down. And of course, I always require a smile. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and thanks for coming. Bye.
Thanks, Dash.
Thank
That's
you.
awesome.
Thank you. I think
Thank you.
I feel better now.